Good morning. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for our Remembrance Day ceremony at Sundell Lakeview Retirement Residence. For those of you who have served or have known anyone who has served, we thank everyone for their service. If you can, please stand. We will sing "O Canada." Please be seated.
Move up a little.
Move up a little?
And move it forward. Thank you.
November 11th, a day of remembrance. Every year on November 11th, Canadians pause in a silent moment of remembrance for the men and women who have served and continue to serve our country during times of war, conflict, and peace. By remembering their service and their sacrifice, we recognize the tradition of freedom these men and women fought to preserve. They believe that their actions in the present would make a significant difference for the future, but it is up to us to ensure that their dream of peace is realized. On Remembrance Day, we acknowledge the courage and sacrifice of those who served their country and acknowledge our responsibility to work for the peace they fought hard to achieve. During times of war, individual acts of heroism occur frequently. Only a few are ever reported and receive official recognition. By remembering all who have served, we recognize their willingly endured hardships and fears, taken upon themselves so that we could live in peace. These wars touched the lives of Canadians of all ages, all races, all social classes. Fathers, sons, daughters, sweethearts, they were killed in action, they were wounded, and thousands who returned were forced to live the rest of their lives with the physical and mental scars of war. The people who stayed in Canada also served, in factories, in voluntary service organizations, wherever they were needed. They died for us, for their homes and families and friends, for a collection of traditions they cherished, a future they believed in. They died for Canada. The meaning of their sacrifice rests with our collective national consciousness. Our future is their monument. I would like to invite Ken Powell up to share some of his stories with us.
Okay. Do I need it? Okay, what we do. Good morning, everybody. I did not expect to be here. That's why I had to dictate a message, my little speech for my daughter to write out for me. Jessica asked me once, or months ago, can I give a speech? And I said, well, I won't be here. I'm going to the hospital today, of all days. Normally I would be in the Legion having a beard. And we have a cenotaph at the back of the Legion. Those that couldn't go to the hospital would stay there, and I have presided there myself. In Sunnybrook, which I've been many years ago, practically died there one time, my first operation when I was about 18, I guess. Anyways, I'd come down with a cold, tonsillitis one night. The doctor woke me up. He said, "It just about lost you. You're like a stuck pig, blood like so-and-so." And they kept me for another month and did the operation, all that to get ice cream, man. Boy, oh boy. In Sunnybrook today, you have 30,000 flags there for the veterans. And they've got pictures of veterans. They're 101 and older. I think there's only one chap in here that is qualified for Second World War. I was in peacetime, Cold War basically. I started off with Air Defense Command out of Saint Hubert, which is south shore of Montreal. I worked out at command headquarters for different times. I had a tour in Norvet in the States for years. Canadians in the military especially, our embassies are treated better out of their country than they are in. We get a lot of perks like tax-free car to bring back, tax-free booze, and we're supposed to be the ambassador to Canada, for Canada in our other countries. We meet a lot of people in the States. I enjoyed it. In Belgium, I enjoyed it. I liked their 2-hour lunches there. They had time to have a beer, work, have a snooze. Here we do a lot of snoozing, and I'm not up to snoozing. But anyways, my career was long, enjoyable. A lot of people in the military, you have divorce problems. My wife and family always like to move. And when in high school, I thought I'd want to be a Mountie. Well, we had a little short guy. Usually in those days, you had to be 6 foot at least. And this guy was from a corporal from Fort Erie, Sonderborg. They have worse postings in the Arctic than we do. And I've been to Europe twice. Anyways, I was in Air Cadets for years, and I won a flying scholarship. And then after I got flying, they found that I had a problem with my eyes. My first landing was perfect. I was flying out of Kitchener-Waterloo with civilians, and I had depth perception, which I never knew about. And I wore glasses, and I don't even need to wear glasses, basically. But anyways, the long story and the short part of it is that I spent a lot of time in the military, enjoyed every part of it. In fact, when I got out, they had to sign up in case they had to call us back. And I say I was in a time when we volunteered for the different wars that came along. Vietnam War, I was in the States working for the Yanks then, which was quite a function, because in the States at that particular time, if civilians were in touch with the military, or not military, but if they were going to go to prison, they could choose to go in the military. And our outfit is professional regular force. They were working with the misfits and their sort of peacetime force, and they get a lot of postal too. Canada's the only one that have women. Women came in when I was coming in. They were originally started off in the reserves, and they got the same pay. Still do. We're the first country I think ever did it. I don't even know if the Yanks have it yet, but Canada would have women combat. The Yanks don't. We were the first country to have women fighter pilots. The first one to fly Hurricane. She just retired a while back. We had during the wartime, we had women flying planes out of Downsview. Could be mosquito bombers, whatever it was, one-inch ones, flying them, taking them, to get them back to our war heroes. This is a little sidebar I'll throw into. I'm doing this is a survey for myself. Out of our young kids working in waitresses, I'm asking, what are you going to do when you finish high school or university? Some want to be a detective, someone else be a nurse. In Baseborn, where I worked for a lot of years after my military service, they have a dental school, they have a band there. If you play an instrument, you can get to be a sergeant pretty well right away. If you got any kind of trade right now, they've taken people to, I think, age 40. The wages I was at was like $79 a month, and I was working after high school, delivering groceries and meat at 25 cents an hour, and then 50 cents an hour. I changed jobs and where they were doing smoking bacon and smoking hams and whatnot. And then I decided to hell with this all during the military. I worked, I did what do you call it, when I worked based in Toronto years ago. I think it was about 51 or so. And I got a job working in the butcher department with the Dominion store. The guys that are working with the train guys, they were not too happy with me because they had to pay union dues. I was making $1 an hour, which was good money in those days. Anyways, the present rate, and anybody can look it up, is do a Google. We're making good money in the military right now. Something you can live on. The one problem with the military is that when you get out, you got to start all over again. And all the time I was in, either have to live on base housing, and that went by your rank. Normally a sergeant I got up to, and so many years you qualified to get in. And you didn't have enough money, like even now people can't have money for buying a house, living with their parents. But as I say, I had a lot of good tours. When I was a corporal, I was in charge of a bunch of guys. We were doing the pine tree radars right across from one coast to the other. We'd go by car, by train, by boat, whatever. It was beautiful. And there's a lot of places out in the West Coast. You're climbing mountains up there that are really high, and we're taking out the bus and we're looking out there and just hope the brakes work and you don't go over the cliff. There was a place called Holberg out there. It was a floating city. It's all like wood and whatnot. And we had in the Air Force the only one the outfit that had like a Navy motor launches where we had to use boats. When I went out, the first time I was out west, we had fog galore, and had a bad accident with an airman in some city got killed. And I was flying into Vancouver Airport and some others. But anyways, we went up we're flying we had a four engine North Star, they called it, something like a DC-4. Anyways, we got into a smaller plane the next time, and the pilot, if we had an engine problem or something, would come back. And then we went out and it was foggy. They had all us guys look out the window to make sure could help the pilot where he's going to land. But anyways, twice was enough. We would go in this nice weather. And these are some of the hazards you get sometimes. But anyways, I also, when I was in Toronto, trying to make up the extra money, I volunteered to be a guinea pig, which is something different. We lived in a cold storage room. Our diet was jelly beans and water. Intake with scientists who we were working with. We were testing for the Arctic clothing and who had got a cold or not, and lost weight. We just had shorts on, no blankets or anything. And after that, we're in it was working with the Aviation and Medicine out of base Toronto, Avenue Road, and then moved to Downstream. This was a long arm with like a pilot on the end of it. Sorry, on the end of it. I'm speaking like French. Anyways, this ball moved around, the arm moved around, and it would take 1 to 10 Gs. We're testing for fighter pilots that when they dive, they got a lot of gravity. I took the max. I wasn't drinking or smoking in those days. Don't smoke anyways, but some of the guys just sort of faint before they got to enter or after. Anyways, that was something different. The only time was in cities and could grow beer. And then we made extra money. So when we got out, we figured, we're going to go have a steak at the restaurant. Our stomachs are shrunk. We didn't eat the steaks. Not all of it anyways. I used to say that I was in peacetime. This was the Cold War that went on for years and years. We're back in it with Russia right now in the Ukraine. We've got troops over in the Ukraine for years. I think they've trained 30,000 Ukrainian military already. And now that they're a war gone, our military over in Poland trained the guys, especially on these new weapons they've got. We've got military all over the place. We're shrinking. We've lost our need 10,000. My little survey I'm doing with the young kids downstairs when they I catch them, and I just ask them what they're planning on doing. I didn't know when I was in high school, other than the bounties. But anyways, you have to join for 3 years, and it's good money. And if you're a dental assistant or have nursing already or going into it, you can. If you play an instrument, you could be a sergeant pretty quick and be in the band and be sport leader. Or if you got any skill, I think they're taking them up to age 40 now, like in engineering or any mechanical type. Or you get a trade and you got something to come through when you get out in City Street. All in all, it's a good life. I know all you guys, it doesn't affect you guys. We're all too old for it, but I think over the years, World War I and World War II, the military didn't want to talk about war, and I don't blame them. It's a lot of sad cases. When I was in Senegal, I had one chap there. I had a car there. I would take him out to the Legion and have a beer. You just get him out of there. But there's a lot of sad cases, and they just more or less vegetate there. It's like some of our seniors' homes, like Champlain. I wouldn't go there for, no thanks. This is one of your best places that I've known. I used to drive cancer, same time as driving Helping Hands. And my timing is off, or enough. No.
Another minute, yeah.
Anyways, I had a good career, and I say, I could tell the kids, it's something to think about, because it's not for everybody, and a lot of them don't even think about it. And the Mounties are hard up. The Mounties now have got a bad name, the way they treat the natives. The cops in other places have got bad names, so they don't get people in the Toronto Police Force, whatnot. And the military in the same way. The military and the government didn't take the women seriously. They didn't get promoted. They didn't respect women. What's happened? Because I had women when I was in, and I had no problem at all. And as you say, it's one of those things you can do it and like it and stay out. Doesn't matter. Or you can join the reserve and see what you like to do. I had a little bit of training with air cadets. We were at different bases. We went for summer camp and whatnot. And that's about all I'm going to say. If there's any questions or anything you want, appreciate it.
Yes, Ken has graciously offered that if you have any questions or anything that you would like to speak to him about, he is open for you to call him or find him in the building. And Ken, if you don't mind, I'm going to read the story that your daughter wrote out for us as well, okay?
Sure.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your service. Okay, so this is the story that Ken had his daughter write out for us. It says, "What was it like to serve?" by Ken Powell, age 91. When I was in high school, my dream was to join the RCMP. Previous to this, I had signed up to be an air cadet. And by the age of 16, I received a flying scholarship. This was the beginning of my career. Often when people hear you are in the military, they assume you are a pilot. I was able to fly for a while, but unfortunately was diagnosed with a depth perception issue, and my flying days were over. After basic training and graduation, I recall how excited me and my colleagues were to finally get into our dress uniforms. I felt proud to be part of such a dedicated group of men and women and to serve my country. I was fortunate to have many postings within Canada, the US, and Europe, of which I was able to learn new skills, be a leader, and be amongst many talented, caring people from all over the world. Military at the present time, it is difficult to recruit new people. Military at the present time, it is difficult to recruit new people, mainly due to sexual harassment issues within the system. This behavior has been present since the 1950s and still today can be a deterrent for young men and women alike. Back in the 50s, it was difficult for women in the military, mainly due to the lack of respect they received. Personally, I feel women were a huge asset and often more pleasant to work alongside. They were highly skilled and motivated to do the job at hand. In closing, my hope is that government recognizes the importance of the ability the military can offer. Mel Lastman was largely criticized for calling in the Army to remove snow years ago. Ironically, his decision was revolutionary, and finally today, all levels of Navy, Army, and Air Force can assist in world disasters. We are blessed and thankful. It's been a great life. Thank you, Ken.
I want to point out some, this is a sideline. Before I had 3 months in the hospital in my operation, I was trying to work on a tiny home which is out west, and they wanted to have them cross Canada. And I was trying to have a competition between Barrie and Aurelia both have new town councils, new mayors and whatnot. And all the city of Barrie or Aurelia have to do is donate some land. The veterans will supply the money, and they're like houses that are for one bedroom type things. See, and I'm good, like, set out. I'm not up to do it now, but I'm going to get back at it because I get bored in here.
Thank you, Ken. Okay, you received a copy of In Flanders Fields when you came in today. We are going to listen to that, and you can read along as well.
By John McCrae.
In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place. And in the sky the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard, amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved. And now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you, from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
We will continue with the last post, following which we will have a 2-minute moment of silence. Today is a day to reflect and remember all of those people who died to give us the peace and the freedom that we enjoy today. I want to thank all of you for coming out and joining us. And please feel free to stay and share and just be together. We do have some treats, some cupcakes if you would like on your way out. But thank you for sharing this with us today. Come up to the wreath and you can place your poppy on the wreath today.
There is another empty one to fill it up. I think that's coming the third copy of it, is one. Did a good job. The rest of it.
Thank you.
Very good.